can you hear the silence? It is the year 2024, but some secrets are buried far deeper than the modern concrete of this corporate tower. It is 3 o'clock in the morning, the hour of the wolf, when the veil between our world and the next becomes thin and fragile. In this empty office, the air is heavy with the scent of rotting jasmine, a floral sweetness that masks something far more putrid. The security monitors flicker, showing nothing but empty cubicles and idle printers, yet something is stirring in the shadows, something that doesn't belong here, something that has been waiting for the lights to go out so it can finally move freely through the halls it once called home. The camera on the 4th floor begins to glitch. It's a subtle distortion, a ripple in the digital feed that most would dismiss as a technical error. But look closer. Between the frames, a pale figure appears for a fraction of a second. She is standing at the end of the long corridor, a white dress stark against the darkness. She doesn't move. She doesn't breathe. The motion sensors are triggered, but there is no one there, at least no one with a heartbeat. The narrator's voice drops to a whisper now. Do you see her? She is waiting. She is watching the lens, knowing that on the other side, a living soul is witnessing her arrival into this sterile, modern world. She begins to walk, but her feet do not touch the carpet. It is a gliding motion, smooth and unnatural. The sound of her movement is a wet, dragging noise, like raw meat being pulled across a cold floor. As she passes the cubicles, the temperature drops until the windows frost over. This is the Sundel Bolong, a woman whose life was stolen, leaving behind a hollow shell and a void that can never be filled. She stops at a desk that belonged to a woman who disappeared 3 months ago without a trace. The ghost bows her head, her long black hair cascading like a curtain of ink over her face, hiding the sorrow and the rage that burns within. Now the camera pans to follow her, and we see it, the signature of her tragedy. Her back is turned to the lens, and there, amidst the pristine white fabric of her gown, is a gaping, jagged hole. It is a portal of rot, a cavity where her spine should be, crawling with the pale movement of maggots. This is the mark of a Sundel Bolong, the wound that never heals, the physical manifestation of the betrayal she suffered in her final moments. The stench of decay fills the hallway, even though you can only see it through a screen. She turns her head slightly, just enough for the infrared camera to catch the glow of a single, vengeful eye peering through the tangles of her hair. Budi, wake up. She is right there. She is reaching out with long, pale fingers, her nails caked with the soil of a shallow grave. She isn't here for the office supplies. She is here for a debt that must be paid in blood. Every second he sleeps brings him closer to the abyss she carries in her back.
Suddenly, Budi bolts upright. He felt a drop of something cold on his neck. He reaches back, and his hand comes away wet. Red, viscous blood mixed with a strange white slime. He looks at the monitors, and his heart stops. Every single camera is now showing the same thing. The woman in white, standing in different parts of the office, all looking directly into the camera lenses. It's as if she has multiplied, surrounding him in a digital cage. He tries to radio for help, but only static comes through. A static that sounds like a woman's weeping, distorted and slowed down until it becomes a guttural roar. He is trapped in a tomb of glass and steel, and the occupant is coming to claim her territory.
He runs. Budi bursts out of the security room, his heavy boots thumping against the floorboards, a frantic rhythm of survival. He reaches the elevator, pressing the button repeatedly, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The doors open with a cheerful chime that feels like a mockery of his terror. But as he steps inside, He realizes the elevator is already occupied. Standing in the corner, facing the wall, is the woman. The elevator is small, and the smell of jasmine is now overpowering, sickeningly sweet. The doors close slowly, sealing him in with the nightmare. He presses the button for the lobby, but the elevator begins to descend, lower than the basement, lower than the foundation of the building. The elevator stops with a jarring thud. The doors creak open to reveal not the lobby, but a dark, damp crawl space beneath the building. This is where the truth lies buried. Booty stumbles out, his flashlight beam cutting through the dust. He sees it, a patch of disturbed earth under the concrete pylons. He remembers now. He remembers the night the contractor told him to look the other way. He remembers the girl who worked in accounting who suddenly resigned. He wasn't just a guard, he was an accomplice to her disappearance. The woman in white steps out of the elevator, her form becoming solid, her face finally visible. It is a face of beautiful, frozen agony, streaked with tears of black bile.
She doesn't scream. She doesn't have to. The hole in her back begins to expand, a swirling vortex of darkness that seems to pull the very light out of the room. Booty is paralyzed, his legs turning to lead as she approaches. She whispers his name, a sound like dry leaves skittering on a grave. "You watched," she says. "Now you will join me in the dark." The maggots begin to spill from her wound, carpeting the floor in a sea of writhing white. This is the plot twist. The CCTV wasn't capturing a random haunting. It was documenting her final act of justice. The office was built on her bones, and now she is building her kingdom on his. The final camera feed, the one in the basement, flickers one last time. We see Booty being pulled toward the hole in her back, his body stretching and distorting as he is absorbed into the void. His screams are silenced as he is pulled into the rotting cavity, becoming part of her eternal wound. The woman turns back to the camera. She reaches out a hand and touches the lens. The screen cracks. The feed cuts to black. The office is quiet once more. The jasmine scent lingers for a moment before being replaced by the smell of ozone and old dust. The sun begins to rise, but for some, the night will never truly end.
The next morning, the office opens as usual. Employees walk over the very spot where Booty vanished, unaware of the tragedy beneath their feet. The management reports a missing security guard and a technical failure in the CCTV system. They say the footage was corrupted. But you know the truth. You've seen what happens when the past refuses to stay buried. Be careful working late tonight. If you smell jasmine, don't look back. And whatever you do, don't check the monitors. Some things are better left unseen, and some holes can never be filled. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. Stay safe and keep the lights on.